What's up guys, welcome back to yet another video on my channel VEEGATHER Creation. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe so that you get the notifications every time I load a new video. Welcome back guys. Today we're gonna talk about top ways to move to Canada. Here we go. Before we jump in, I want to share a few numbers with you to get you excited. In last 3 years, the federal government has accepted more than 900,000 immigrants to Canada. And in the next 3 years, these targets are going to go up. The number says 1.3 million immigrants to be expected in Canada. And there is a lot of opportunity to move at this time. This is the time for you to move in. How to do that? Here's a list. Starting up the list with the most common visa is the student's visa. You can come to Canada as an international student and enroll yourself into a designated learning institute which is approved by the province of Canada or the territorial government of Canada, and you can enroll into a PGWP program, which is the postgraduate work permit program, and get 3 years student plus work permit in Canada, which allows you to study for 2 years and plus 1 year to gain 1 year Canadian experience. Once you complete 3 years, you can apply for an extension for 2 more years, and in that span of 5 years you can apply for your permanent residence after you complete your education in Canada. It is the most easiest way to come to Canada, though it costs a little bit money just because you will be coming to Canada for your studies and then apply for PR. If you are living in India, China, Morocco, Pakistan, Philippines, there are faster ways to get student visa, so that is one good option if you're planning to move to Canada. Now the next most popular way to move to Canada and the easiest way to move to Canada is through Express Entry program. The Express Entry program was launched by the Canadian government back in 2015, and ever since then it has had great success. So how does it work? The way Express Entry works is through a CRS system, which is a comprehensive ranking system. What it does is, without having you to look for jobs in Canada or to get any provincial nominee program, all you have to do is sit in your country, apply on canada.ca, your profile through Express Entry, create your profile, apply online, and if you get the invitation to apply, you can apply for permanent residence in Canada directly, and then move to Canada, look for jobs here. This is the most easiest program launched by the Canadian government back in 2015. The way CRS system works is, every 2 weeks there is a draw where more than 20,000 people apply for Express Entry, and out of which the top 3,500 to 4,500 people get invitation to apply for Express Entry. The points in the last 1 year or so has been around 460 to 480. So to be safe, that's the number you're looking at. You can, when you're making your profile on canada.ca, you will come to a step-by-step process where you will come to know how many points you are at the moment, and based upon that you can work your way through to reach the target, which is about 470 right now. Guys, I will be doing a separate video on how the Express Entry works in detail, so stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel if you want to be updated on when I upload the next video for the Express Entry program. Since it is, I would guide you with the step-by-step process. That's why I want to get into detail when I make that video separately. For this one, we'll just concentrate on the top ways to move to Canada. Next up in the category is the PNP program. What is the PNP program? It is the provincial nominee program, which allows a candidate to move to a particular province of Canada and eventually get PR in Canada, which is the permanent resident in Canada. The way it is designed is, it's for workers who can contribute to the economy of that particular province. So when you'll be applying for a PNP program, you'll be applying for one particular province. You will move to that province and work there, look for jobs, and eventually apply for permanent resident of Canada and then live in Canada. You can always move to different province later on, but for the initial few years you will have to stay in that province to complete your process. What it does is it gives you 600 points on your CRS score if you're applying for express entry. You can always come to Canada on PNP program, like approved PNP, and then work in that province and then apply for your express entry. What it does is it allows you to stay in Canada and then apply for your residence in Canada. These are designed for specific provinces, so there are different rules and different application process for each and every province. I will make a separate video on that, so stay tuned. The next way is through a family sponsorship. Now, through the family sponsorship program, you can sponsor your spouse, your parents, your grandparents to move to Canada. All you have to do is prove, in case of your spouse, you'll have to prove a relationship of at least 12 months and have a set household to prove that you are in a relationship, and you can sponsor them to move to Canada. For grandparents, you have to have a certain income to prove that you will be able to help them and support them when they are in Canada, and for same thing applies for your parents as well. There are certain options where you can sponsor your sibling as well, but the rules are pretty strict on that. The next easiest way to move to Canada is through the QSWP, which is the Quebec Skilled Worker Program. Now, Quebec has a different selection grid, not as similar as CRS, which I spoke about in the earlier part. The selection grid is based upon your experience, your age, your qualification, your fluency in French and English. So Quebec has a separate province program for the skilled immigrants to move to Quebec in particular. Now you can go online again, look for the eligibility criteria, fill in your application, and if you are invited to apply for the provincial program, you would move to Quebec and then eventually apply for your permanent residence in Canada later on. That is one of the easiest way. The only catch to that is you'll have to learn French because it is one of the two major languages in Quebec, and you cannot live without that. Next up on the list is through the business visa. Business visa is divided into two classes. One is the startup visa and the other one is self-employed visa. So the way the self-employed visa would work is you'll have to prove minimum of 2-year experience in your own field plus 35 points out of 100 in the selection grid. The selection grid is based upon your age, your education, your experience, your spouse education and the funds, and if you are more than 35 points out of 100, you'll be invited to apply for self-employed visa in Canada. The next category in the business visa would be the startup visa. Now, if you're planning to move to Canada on a startup visa, your idea of the startup has to be approved by either the angel investor group or the venture capital group, and if your idea is approved, you would be invited to apply for a business visa, which is under the startup visa, and you can move to Canada. The fund requirement to that is about 200,000, which is about 1 crore in Indian rupees, and you can move to Canada on the business visa. That's it from my side, guys. These were the top ways to move to Canada, though there are more than 12 different ways, different visas to move to Canada, but I chose these ones based upon the eligibility criteria and the time required to get the visa. I would be making a separate separate videos on each and every category just to go into more details, but till then, take care of yourself. See you in the next one. Peace out.